Thank you. Please be seated. Honorable members, I have the honor to announce that joining us in the gallery is Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the leader of the Zambian opposition UNPD. Honorable members, the only item on today's order paper is questions addressed to the President.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise in terms of Rule 31, a point of privilege. Once more again, we are called upon in this House to be addressed by a person whom the highest court of the land has found him to have violated the Constitution.
Honorable member, please take your seat.
Can you please listen to this one
I have not even finished. Honorable member, I have not even finished saying what is the order.
Madam Speaker, the order, the point that I rose on is Rule 31,
Honorable,
a point of privilege, Madam Speaker.
Honorable member, please take your seat.
We request you, Madam Speaker, to explain to us why Tutuzane's father is coming here to address us when actually the highest court of the land has found him to have violated the Constitution.
Member, you are out of order.
And you also with this House, you are complicit, and the same judgment also had an adverse finding against you and
I urge you to take your seat, Honorable Member. Honorable members, it has been ruled before that in terms of the Constitution, the President is elected by Parliament and can also be removed from office by Parliament. This can be done in terms of either Section 89 or Section 102 of the Constitution. This House, honorable members, on the 8th of August, considered a motion of no confidence in the President. And as we all know, the motion did not succeed. There is therefore no basis in law or in terms of the rules for the President not to be allowed to speak in this House today, and for as long as he is the President of the Republic. I therefore really appeal, honorable members, that we proceed with the order, which is questions to the President.
Speaker.
And the first question has been asked by the Honorable, the Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker.
Honorable Sope.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, the Rule 31.2b is also speak about you, Speaker, that you must tell this Parliament that since President have violated the Constitution, his oath of office, the Parliament was expected to discipline him.
Honorable Sope,
may I just finish, Speaker?
On this matter, and
Speaker,
I urge you to take your seat. No, Honorable Sope, I have ruled, and I urge you to take your seat.
Speaker, not today. We just want to get your engagement. Why don't you just take action against him because he have
Honorable Sope, I now am going to switch off your microphone.
But you are engaging, Speaker, in terms of the rules.
I am going to switch off your microphone. Honorable members, the first question has been asked by the Honorable, the Leader of the Opposition. The chair has the right to switch off the mic when an honorable member is not cooperating. I have ruled on the matter of the president and his right to speak in the House for as long as he is the president of the Republic, he has the right to come and answer questions in the House. I wonder.
Thank you. Speaker, you are out of order.
Honorable Malema, I have not given you a right to address
Yes,
me.
I'm rising on a point of order. Please don't abuse power.
What is the point of
You
order?
cannot switch off our mics. You can switch off her mic.
I will
but
switch
not
off
the
her mic.
But you
And
switch
I have
off our mics
I
too.
have now switched on all your mics, and
Please,
I'm urging you to
please,
take your seat
don't
so
abuse
the
power.
president
Don't
can
abuse
answer
your
the
power,
questions.
please.
Point of order. Point of order.
What's the point of order?
Speaker, can you please rule on this? I'm rising on a point of order. You are quoting the Constitution, where Section 89 explicitly says in subsection 1, a serious violation of the Constitution or law. There is a judgment by the Constitutional Court that Ubaba Tutuzani has violated the Constitution.
Honorable
No,
Rosie.
last sentence, Speaker, last sentence. We wrote to you as the head of parliament that you must constitute disciplinary proceedings
Honorable
against
Rosie.
Ubabaga Tutuzani
Honorable
so that
Rosie.
he can be answerable for violating the Constitution.
Honorable
And you are
Rosie.
continuing to allow him to come here on the
Honorable
basis that
Rosie,
he's the
I'm
president.
not allowing you to deal with that particular matter here in this sitting, which is specific.
My last point.
The president to
But we
answer
wrote
questions.
to you, Speaker. We wrote
Honorable
to you.
Rosie, you don't deal
A
with that
motion
matter
of no
here.
confidence has nothing to do with Section 89, subsection 1. There is a ruling by the highest court in the land that Ubabaga Tutuzani has broken the law. You must do a disciplinary hearing so that he can come and answer.
Rosie,
And that is what we are asking.
Honorable
What is he
Rosie.
doing here
Honorable
before he
Rosie, I'm
goes
switching off
into a
your mic.
constitutional
I'm switching off your mic.
treatment?
Yes, honorable, point of order. What is the point of order? Lento yini?
I said,
It's off.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker,
There's a point of order
I've
here.
been standing even before Honorable Malema spoke.
It's okay, I'll come back to you. Honorable Deputy Chief Whip.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. In terms of Rule 140, today's sitting is about the questions to the President.
Indeed.
Which we agreed upon in the programming committee this morning by all of us sitting in this house. Yes, some of those people who are against this sitting today, they were not part of that meeting. So it was agreed by the majority of parties represented in this house that today is questions to the President. So we cannot be held at ransom by people
Order,
who
Chair.
doesn't recognize
Speaker,
the President.
order.
He's here
Speaker.
to deal with his
Speaker.
constitutional obligation to this house. I
Order,
thank you. Speaker, I just want to say the
Honourable
Deputy
members,
Chief Whip of ANC was
Don't
not even there.
interrupt when another
She was
honourable
not
member
even
is
there
on
in
the
that
floor.
meeting. So she must not speak as if she was there in that meeting, Speaker. She was not in that meeting.
Honourable members, this is a session for the President to answer questions.
Speaker,
I appeal to honourable members to cooperate and let us proceed with this session for the President to answer the questions.
Speaker, last
Because
point.
if not, I will have to ask you if you want to leave the session.
No, we don't want to leave. No.
But if you are disrupting us,
Speaker, Ubaba Tutuzani suspended Muduma Nana.
I can't have
On the
two people
basis-
from the EFF talking at the same time.
I'm talking, Speaker.
So please,
Honorable Mududuzi Manana, who is honorable no more, was suspended by Ubaba Tutuzani.
Honorable Ndlozi, I did not recognize
Mr.
you.
Zuma
Honorable
is
Carter,
worse. There's a constitutional court finding against
Honorable
him.
Ndlozi.
Why isn't he suspending himself?
Honorable Ndlozi, please
Why
take your
isn't he
seat.
suspending himself?
Take
Why
your
must we
seat,
sit
Honorable
here
Ndlozi.
and listen to Ubaba Tutuzani on the basis,
Honorable Ndlozi.
Speaker?
Honorable Carter,
Honourable Speaker. Speaker,
yes.
you have to look at your systems and the fairness of your procedures. If you, in exactly the same point as for Honourable Malema, you cannot, if Honourable Schloppe's mic is switched off, switch everyone's mic off throughout the House. That is unconstitutional. You cannot do that. You can switch the person's mic off that you warned about, but you cannot switch the mic off for everyone else.
Thank you very much, Honorable Carter. You are correct. And I'm asking the table staff to look into the issue of the mics. When I want to switch off one mic, it must be one mic that goes off. It must not disadvantage the whole House. So, honorable members,
Order, Speaker.
I now...
Order, Speaker.
What is the issue, Honorable Mbata?
No. I'm not Honorable Mbata. I'm
Who are
Honorable
you?
Khaula.
You are Honorable Kaula.
Khaula, thank you very much for recognizing me, Speaker. Speaker, the first two speakers raise a point of privilege, which is Rule 31. I want clarity. Are there rules that are suspended in the House? Because in terms of the rules, a member may rise and raise a point of privilege, and your duty is to listen to the point up to the end. Please advise us if there are certain rules in the House that have been suspended so that we may be advised. Thank you very much. Please rule on that.
Honorable member, I have ruled on that matter, which was raised by the very first person who got up on a point of order, and I made an immediate ruling on the matter, and I've announced it in the House, and I wish to proceed to ask the President to answer the question of the Honorable, the Leader of the Opposition.
On a point of privilege, Speaker.
Honorable Malema, I am not going to continue giving you an opportunity for a point of privilege, which in fact is about abusing this House.
Honorable Speaker, one of the things that you may have to come to terms with is that we have a right to speak here. And it doesn't matter whether you are irritated by our input or not. You must listen to us. And all we are asking is, we cannot have Duduzani's father
No, Honorable
coming to
Malema.
speak here
Honorable Malema,
after the constitutional
Honorable
court
Malema.
pronounced on him.
you have now abused even the right I'm giving you now by calling an honorable member in the House by a private reference. And I'm saying here you address other honorable members as honorable members. Honorable member at the back.
No, Speaker, I was still making my point.
No, honorable. No, I've said to you, take your seat.
I hope you are proud that every time you come here,
Honorable
Parliament
Speaker.
degenerates because of your crimes. I hope you are proud.
Honorable Speaker,
Yes, honorable member. Honorable member at the back.
thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to check if we can't subject the Honorable President to a light detector test because his presidency is like a crime in progress, and I don't want to be part of a president who is not willing to abide by our constitution.
Honorable Tlowama,
Honorable Speaker,
please take a seat. Take your seat, Honorable Tlowama.
On a point of order, Speaker.
Honorable Ntlangwini, I was hoping for better from you.
No, it's because of that
I was
conference,
hoping for
Speaker.
better from you.
It's because of that
Since you
woman
were
conference.
sitting here
No, Speaker.
day before yesterday.
Speaker,
I expected
don't
much
patronize
better
me,
from
Speaker.
you.
It's because of that conference, woman conference, we can't be addressed by a rapist. It's because of that woman
Honorable
conference,
Ntlangwini.
Speaker. We can't be
Honorable
addressed by a
Ntlangwini.
person that
You
raped
must
woman.
withdraw that
No,
immediately.
he must go.
No, you must
He must go. We
immediately
can't be
withdraw
addressed by
that.
him.
Honorable Ntlangwini,
Yes, Speaker.
you must say what you want to say in the right and the correct form, and you know that. You don't stand in the House and just throw an insult, which in fact just amounts to you abusing another honorable member.
That's not
If you
abusing
want
us,
to
Speaker.
put to us a wrong that has been done by anyone who is here, please do it in the correct form. You know that you must put it in the form of a substantive motion. You can't just stand up and think that because you are in the House, you can say anything to anybody.
Okay, I withdraw.
Thank you.
But now can I speak my point, Speaker?
What is your point?
My point is we can't be addressed by the father of Tutuzan.
No,
We have
honorable
no
member.
respect for the Constitution,
No, honorable
Speaker.
Sangwini, you
Don't
don't
be
do it
abused
that
by
way.
that man, Speaker. He must leave.
No.
He can't address us here.
Honorable Sangwini, take your seat. Honorable members, I now recognize
Speaker.
Honorable Chauke.
Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
I'm recognizing
I was
Honorable
before-
Chauke.
I was before Chau.
No, Honorable Mbata.
Speaker.
Chauke.
Speaker, I thought that you'll be able to make a very strong ruling regarding this address to the president as the father of Tutuzan. I thought that you'll have to give protection to the president, Speaker, because it cannot be, Speaker, that we then reduce the president's office to the extent that even the insults that are coming to the president. From the ANC side, we're taking serious exception of this, Speaker, and we want you to make a ruling of those who are disrupting the House. If they want to be in the House, they must really adhere to the rules. And we proceed in that fashion, Speaker, because we cannot take it anymore, that we must allow these insults that are coming to the president, and it becomes normal. You have to make a ruling on that.
Thanks, Honorable.
No, you are out of
Chauke.
order. If
Thank
you
you.
work for your family,
Order,
you will be
order.
called to Tutuzani's father.
No,
He has
Honorable
abdicated
Malema.
his responsibility of being the father of the nation.
Honorable
And because he's
Malema.
feeding his family. We
Honorable
must stop
member, you
feeding
are
his
out of
family.
order. Honorable Malema.
Order, Speaker.
I want to make
Order,
a
Speaker.
ruling. I want to make the ruling here, as raised by Honorable Chauke. Honorable members, the rules of parliament are in principle designed to foster the free exchange of ideas and meaningful debate, and to ensure that the dignity and decorum of the House is maintained. Without due decorum, this House would be unable to conduct its business and serve the people's interests. In this regard, there are a number of rules and conventions relating to how members should refer to one another, and specifically that they should address each other in a respectful manner. Moreover, I must remind members that they are here in their official capacity as elected representatives and not as head of a particular household or as a relation to another individual. So, honorable members, we are here in our particular capacities as members of parliament. In fact, I remember Honorable Floyd Shibambu emphasizing that point. Based on these principles, I am of the view that it is not in order to refer to the president or any other member in their personal capacity. In the House, members should refer to each other as honorable or by their title. I therefore urge members to address each other in line with the rules and practices of this House.
Speaker, let us put on the record, Speaker, we reject that Eurocentric ruling that promotes European culture in a South African parliament. It is very much respectful within our culture to refer to you, Njengo Mama Kabanban. At least I'm not saying Baleka, or I'm not saying Mbete, we're not saying Zuma, we're saying Baba Tutuzane. In our culture, that is respectful, but we want to register that that is precisely what he is. He is Umaba unless he wants to reject his son.
Order.
You want to abandon your son when you come here. That is who he serves. That is who he is here to protect. So we must reject that ruling of yours as
Honorable Ndlozi, order. You had no right to scream everything that you've just been saying.
Don't confuse screaming with passion, Speaker. It's passion, it's not screaming. I promise you, you heard everything I said.
I have not recognized
It's passion, it's also African.
I have not recognized you. I'm recognizing Honorable Sheikh Imam.
Madam Speaker, we have come here for a specific reason, and that is to get responses from the President. Number two, Madam President, there are millions of people internationally and locally that are waiting to hear the responses of the President. May I urge you, Madam President, to exercise your right in terms of the rules and bring decorum and dignity back to the House. Thank you.
Point of order, Sihlalo ngaphambili.
Thank you, Speaker.
Mamukhawula ngicela uhlale phansi ma.
Ake sihloniphane. Izwe lethu leli.
Ngicela lokho nami ukuthi sihloniphane.
Le ndoda la ihambe la isadingeki. Nenyanya ayisayifuni la.
Akukona ukuhlonipha lokho.
Ayiphume le ndoda.
Akukona ukuhlonipha lokho mama ukhawula.
Ubaba kaDuduzane uyahlonishwa.
Ngicela uhlale phansi mama.
Hayi akahambe.
Ngicela uhlale phansi.
Asamdingi.
Ngicela uzihloniphe wena qala. The Honorable, the Chief Whip.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise on a point of order 92 in relation to the abuse of Rule 31. First, Honorable Speaker, let's read Rule 31 so that the audience out there understands what Rule 31 has to do. Rule 31 says, a member who wishes to raise a perceived breach of privilege must report it to the Speaker without delay, first of all. And two, if the alleged breach of privilege is in the Speaker's opinion adequately substantiated and may affect a sitting of the House on the day on which the question of privilege is reported or in the immediate future, the Speaker may, with due regard to the provisions of the Powers and Privileges Act, 1, make an immediate ruling on the matter and announce it in the House, or B, provide the member with an opportunity during the sitting to move an urgent motion without notice in terms of rules 123, 1B, and 127. If the alleged breach of privilege does not directly affect a sitting of the House in the immediate future, the Speaker must refer the matter to the Powers and Privileges Committee and inform the House accordingly, either immediately or at the earliest of. We therefore move, Speaker, that we are here
rising on Rule 82.
On Rule 140. And the business of this House is to receive response to the questions that have been directed to the President. That is the business of the House. Any of the matters that have been raised as matters of privilege, there is no matter of privilege that has been raised that precedes or that needs to nullify Rule 140 that empowers this House to receive answers to the questions that have been directed to the President. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members.
Honorable Speaker.
That point of order is sustained, and honorable members who have now
No,
taken
Honorable
points
Speaker.
of order,
Honorable Speaker.
and I now proceed
Honorable Speaker,
to
on a
questions.
point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Malema, I am not taking any
No.
more points of order.
Honorable Speaker, you are abusing your
I am
power
not
because
taking any more
your
points
ruling
of
is
orders.
wrong because when you call the president when you say to
Honorable-
him Baba all the time when president is here, you call him Baba.
No, I
when
call
we
him
say
president.
Baba, no, you
I
say
call
Baba
him honorable
all the
president.
time. You say Baba,
I
you
call
are not
him
consistent.
honorable
You
president.
are abusing
And
power.
Honorable
There's nothing
Malema,
wrong with Baba
if you
Gatuzane.
do not want to take your seat and cooperate so that this house can proceed with its business, I am going to give you the opportunity to exercise the right to leave the house.
Point of order, Speaker.
Ansatati point of order, sis.
No, point of
I'm
order.
now
Based on what the
proceeding.
chief whip have said.
We have spent 30
He's looking
minutes.
for suspending.
We have spent 30 minutes on points of order.
No, Speaker,
That in fact was spurious. I am now
ubhaleli letter akhange usiphendule so makangathi siyam-abuser u-point 31
Honorable,
asim-abuse sifuna impendulo
I am now
Ngeleta esikubhalele
proceeding.
yona ukubana ngabathatha utata kaduduzane
You are now
umse
speaking
eqongeni
without my
le-hearing.
permission. I now call upon the president to
Point of
answer
order,
the
Speaker.
questions.
Speaker, point of order.
Cha, ngithe ama-point of order
You
aphelile
are
manje.
continue to violate the constitution
Cha.
by allowing this Babau Tugusani to come here and speak. This is the man who failed
I'm
to
going
respect
to
the
now
constitution.
ask.
No, wait.
No, I'm going to ask the sergeant at arms to allow you to go out. To assist you to go out.
Honorable Speaker, you didn't warn her. You must warn her first. Warn her first. You can't call Sergeant at Arms as a first act. Warn her first. You cannot abuse power like that. Otherwise, we are taking you on review. You are acting unconstitutionally. You must warn her first. You cannot just call Sergeant at Arms as a first act. Warn her first and see if she's not cooperating. She's even sitting down now. There is no need for Sergeant at Arms. Come here, Papa Duduzane, come.
Honorable members, honorable members, I have said I am done with points of order. I'm done. So you are all warned that we have finished. We are
There is
all
no
warned.
there is no such a ruling, Speaker.
Honorable
You cannot
Malema,
generalize.
Honorable Malema, I have to proceed to questions. I now ask the Honorable, the President, to come to the podium and answer the question of the Honorable, the Leader of the Opposition.
Am I given the order to answer the question?
The Honorable, the President.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I wish to make it categorically clear that I have never instructed or directed any state institution to give contracts to anyone whatsoever. Having said that, the issues raised by the leader of opposition in his question are similar to the issues that were investigated by the public protector in the report entitled State of Capture. I have stated on numerous occasions my intention to establish a commission of inquiry to investigate matters raised in the report. I am pursuing this course. I deem this to be in the public interest and in the cause of good governance and accountability. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Speaker.
The Leader of the Opposition.
Honourable Speaker.
Honourable
Just on a point of order, I didn't want to interrupt the President, okay? But when you said that the first order of the day is for questions, and then there was points of orders, we pushed our buttons. When the President started speaking now, the buttons were cleared. So I'm saying, for fairness, for people that didn't see the buttons were cleared again, clear it again before we get to follow-up questions. Because we cannot, after you have called for order of the day, the first one, we pushed our buttons, our lights were on, while President was speaking, the lights were off.
Can we just check that? What's happening with the list? I see my own screen is clear.
In the meantime, angahlala phansi ubaba kaDuduzane whilst we are getting those things very cleared. Madam Speaker, ungamtshela ahlale phansi.
Awuhlale phansi wena.
The names again. Of course, starting with the Leader of the Opposition.
Yes. Can I just, for clarity's sake, announce the names? Is the Honourable, the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Cebekulu from IFP, the Honourable Sheikh Imam from NFP, the Honourable Mente from EFF. That will be the four.
Ms. Carter is here.
Honourable Carter, you are there, but you are right at the bottom.
No, exactly. Do you know why? Because they cleared it.
No,
After
Honourable
you've called for
Carter,
order, but I
please
know-
take your
no,
seat.
Speaker.
The machine does not clear it, it just orders
The
it.
table is manipulating who is the speakers.
Honourable Carter, please.
I have got witnesses here that it was cleared after the President started speaking. I've got witnesses that know that our lights were on and it was cleared afterwards. It is being manipulated to fit the ANC of which speakers they want to speak.
But there's no ANC here. It's the IFP, NFP, and EFF.
I am saying to you that you are manipulating, the table is manipulating it. It was
Speaker,
cleared
Imam Sheikh is the ANC. It's just that he's sitting this side.
The Honourable, the Leader of the Opposition.
The only way that this is going to be a fair process is if you're going to clear it again.
Honourable Carter, I've heard you, we've heard you. And the table staff have noted the point and will look into it.
But that's not sorting out the problem.
Honourable Carter, there's
fairness,
nothing we can do as the whole plenary here right now.
For fairness of the process, you should reset it and then give everyone an opportunity for the first to push the buttons to be on. But for it to just be switched off and cleared does not work that way.
I can't even hear.
And I'm sorry, we're not going to, you can throw me out, but unless it is a fair process, we cannot continue.
Honourable Kubisa.
Yes, Madam Speaker. When the name of Honourable Sheikh Imam was called, there was a bit of howling. And then secondly, let it be known that Honourable Sheikh Imam is a member for the National Freedom Party.
Honourable members, the Honorable, the leader of the opposition has been recognized. Honorable.
Honorable Speaker, you have not addressed my point.
I have no way of addressing it
You
in
do
the
have
middle.
a, Honorable
No,
Speaker, you
Honorable
do have a
Carter.
way.
Honorable
I
Carter.
have witnesses that after the president started speaking, you, the table, cleared the buttons, the speaking buttons. So for it to be a fair process, then clear everyone and give everyone an opportunity to push the buttons again. That is in all fairness.
Speaker, just remove that Imam Sheikh because it's very, very, very useless. Yeah, and then put her.
But you have made exception for Babaga Tutuzane to speak. Make exception for Carter as well.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Speaker.
Honorable Carter, we have noted your point. And Mr. Kaso here, who heads the table, is looking into it with his colleagues, but he is saying to me, yes, when we were listening to points of order, we were dealing with that. We were not yet at the point of supplementary questions. And so whatever you're complaining about will be followed up by the team under Mr. Kaso.
Speaker, I do not agree with him for the single reason.
Can we then not waste the time of the House?
Well then,
we have already wasted a lot of time of the House. I appeal to you, please, just
Honorable
to then deal with it in the office of the Secretary to the National Assembly.
So should I deal with the President outside the door too?
With the Secretary of the National Assembly.
Chair, Speaker, does that mean we need to deal with the President outside too?
No.
Well, exactly. So the only fair process would be to reset all the buttons. What is that? That's got to be no
Go and
problem.
tell Mr. Kaso.
No, you are the Speaker.
No.
You are
I
the
am not
Speaker.
Mr. Kaso. I
I'm sorry, we forget.
I don't deal with the machines. He deals with it.
Yeah, we seem to forget that you're the Speaker of the ANC.
Honorable Speaker,
I have
on a point of order.
I have
Speaker, you can't refer us
Honorable
to Kaso.
Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, you can't refer us to Kaso. This thing of buttons is rules. It allows you to determine fairness.
I'm not talking to you, Honorable.
But I'm talking to you,
No,
Honorable
take your
Speaker.
seat.
But
Take your
don't
seat.
refer the House to Kaso. You are out of order.
No.
Who is Kaso, by the way?
If you want to get
Okay,
into
who is
the
Kaso?
details of
Who
the
elected
buttons,
Kaso?
then she will deal with Mr. Kaso.
Speaker.
Point of order.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Maseko at the back stood up before you.
Imam uyaphaza. Udala nima.
It's okay, Speaker, give him the chance.
Ungazuthi umbone
I'll
kuqala.
talk after him. It's okay.
Thank you.
Ngomdala noma ngomncinci.
Hayi ndixakiwe mama, mandingakuphendula kwangoku.
Ndicinga uba makuthethe umama.
Hayi ndingamnika andimanye.
Thank you, Speaker. My point of order is to Honorable Hlope, who called Honorable Imam useless. I would ask you, Honorable Speaker, to ask her to withdraw that.
But, Speaker, I was making a point that Imam Sheikh is an ANC useless person in this House. So you can even call Carter instead of him.
Withdraw.
I withdraw.
Okay. Honorable Kwankwa.
Speaker, I understand. I sympathize with you entirely. I understand your predicament that from where you're sitting, you're not able to determine accurately who was first and last on the list and what happened earlier. But then it takes us back to the proposal I made to you on behalf of the United Democratic Movement that we should have access to the queuing system for follow-up questions on our screens. That will address this problem. Not only will it do that, but it will ensure the credibility of the system. It will ensure that there's fairness in the system.
I believe you raised that in the Chief Whip's...
No, in the programming this morning.
In the programming this morning.
Yes, we need to attend.
Now you are upscaling it to this House.
I'm
The House
underscoring
is
that
not
point.
in a position to deal with that issue right now. Honorable Kwankwa, khawuhlale phansi
Mama,
bhuti man.
Ima.
Ixesha
We
limkile
had
ngoku.
a similar problem with the DP. It's recurring. That's why it's important for us to discuss this here.
Hlala phansi kaloku sawuphinde sidile nayo loo nto. Masivumele utata uMayimane athethe.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Ndlozi, hlala phansi.
Okay, can I
Hlala
address you,
phansi.
Speaker?
Hlala phansi.
Okay, on a point of order.
Even on a point of order, hlala phansi. Honorable Maimane, please pursue.
Madam Speaker, you are requested to give a ruling as to whether it is parliamentary to call an honorable member here Upudi, when actually you are refusing us to refer to Umlisa Wasenkandla.
Hlala phansi. Wena hlala phansi. Hambo hlala phansi. Honorable Maimane, speak please.
On a point of order, Chair. Speaker, on a
Yes.
point of order.
Yes, Honorable Khatem.
The member of EFF has just called the president Umlisa Wasenkandla. I think that it is not parliamentary. What is supposed to be, it must be addressed appropriately. And number two, Speaker, you have made a ruling about referring to the people informally, and they consistently do that again. I think your ruling is final according to Rule 92.11. Thank you.
Hayi mhlamba umazi vele umuntu wesilisa lona. Kanti awuzoma wazi ukuthi umuntu wesilisa lo usenkingeni. Uyamthuka phela manje wena. Ushola usitshela ukuthi ayona indoda le. Musudala ngathi. Hawu, indoda le umlisa
Makwethu
lo.
mina bengicela sisebenze namhlanje.
On a point of order, Speaker. On a point of order. You just called, no. You just called Honorable Kaula Mam Kaula against your own ruling. Be consistent. It's not done. What you are ruling, you know very well that it's wrong.
Honorable
That's why
Malema.
you call Mam Kaula. That's why we will call
Malema,
him
Take your seat.
Baba Waka Dudusa.
Please take your seat. Honorable Maimane, please ask your supplementary question.
Thank you very much. I would have really hoped that the motion of confidence would have succeeded. And members from that side, in fact, some agree with us that the president must be removed. I am here to speak about this double speak. You, in your response, you say a judicial commission of inquiry you are willing to set up, but in fact you are opposing it in court. That's not my question. In your State of Nkandla report, the Secure and Comfort, you said you have a bond, but in fact none of that has been proven. I want to get to this question because the trend is continuing. You are saying in the same question, you've never done so. Yet there is an affidavit tabled by Mr. Brent Simons that has come through. He says he was present at meetings where you requested for relatives that you know to be given particular contracts. Now, clarify for us, who is lying to South Africa? Is it Mr. Simons? And if he is lying, are you going to take legal action against him? Or are you, in fact, Mr. President, misleading South Africans about not helping your family members to get contracts in the state?
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have answered the question. I've never done such a thing.
Order, honorable members, order.
You have my answer, honorable member.
The Honorable
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Steenhuisen, on what point are you rising now?
On Rule 91, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Maimane asked the President a specific question. He said that if Mr. Simons is lying, as the President is now alleging in this public forum, is he going to take legal action against him? That was a clear question the President must answer.
The Honorable the President.
I've answered the question.
The Honorable,
This one you are going to answer.
Kulu.
Madam Speaker.
You have not been recognized. You have not been recognized. Honorable Cebekulu has been recognized.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Cebekulu,
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Steenhuisen, please allow me to
No, Madam
proceed.
Speaker, you're moving on though, that's the problem. And that's why, you know, people like this come to the House and disrupt the House because the President frustrates the process. The President answered the questions. We wouldn't perhaps have all the drama in the House every time. People get frustrated because the President won't answer. It was a simple question. If Mr. Simmons is lying, will the President take legal action against him? You did not answer that with respect, sir. You did not answer that in your question at all. And you must answer.
No.
Otherwise, Madam Speaker, this is a sham. We might as well pack it up, not go through this drama and all go home if this is a sham. He must answer the question, otherwise this House is failing in its duty.
Honorable members, may I proceed to ask the Honorable Cebekulu to ask his supplementary question?
Madam Speaker, you are disrupting the House. With due respect, we wish to assist you as we used to do before. With due respect, Madam Speaker, I request for your indulgence on a point of order against you. You are not going to call the next supplementary question, Madam Speaker. That you can be assured of. Allow us to speak to you. Please,
so I'm going to take instruction from you that I must not call the next supplementary question. I'm calling the Honorable Cebekulu.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, on a point of order. On a point of order.
Honorable members, what do you want us to do?
Yes,
the Honorable
listen, he must answer the question.
The Honorable President.
Answer the question. He must answer the question. He must answer the question. Oh.
Yeah, he says.
He must answer the questions.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, order. This has been said before, and I'm going to repeat it. It is not possible for the chair to prescribe to the executive how they should respond to questions from members. If a member is dissatisfied with a reply, there are processes available for them to obtain to get further information in line with their oversight responsibility. I believe, honorable members, that members of the executive should use the opportunity provided by question time to provide the House with as much information as possible to assist members in exercising their oversight function. But the chair cannot put words in the mouth of the member of the executive.
Speaker, let me assist you.
So, no, Honorable Malema, I don't need assistance.
You need assistance.
No, I don't.
Speaker, if there are no words coming out of the mouth of an executive, you are going to have to make him to take words out of his mouth.
No,
he's not saying anything.
Honorable Malema,
so what is the purpose of this?
Please take your seat. I wish to proceed to Honorable Cebekulu.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Steenhuisen, please.
May I please address
cooperate with me?
I would love to cooperate with you. I really want to. But may I just address you in terms of Rule 26(4) of the NA rules? Madam Speaker, your job as a Speaker is to make sure that the rules are applied and to ensure the participation of members of all parties. It's not that we're not happy with the response. We're complaining about the lack of response. The President didn't answer. It's not that we're unhappy with what he said. He's refusing to answer the question.
So
it was a clear, Madam Speaker, please crack your whip and get the President to answer the question. That's why you're there. You've got to put this institution before this man.
Honorable, the
this
President
institution
has
must hold him
answered
accountable. He has
in
not.
the manner he has answered.
Answer the question,
and
Madam.
there is not anything I will be able to do
You can compel
about
him
that.
to answer the question.
Honorable Kwankwa, cela uhlale phansi.
You can compel him to answer the question, Madam Speaker.
Hlala phansi.
You can compel him. It's in your right to do so.
Uyamosha, President. Uyamosha, Mama.
Honorable
Speaker,
Hlala phansi,
Honorable
Kwankwa.
Speaker,
No, the-
Honorable
Sandra,
Speaker,
Mama.
can we be
Hlala
recognized?
phansi,
I'd
hlala
like to make a
phansi.
proposal, Speaker, if I may.
What
Maybe,
proposal are you
maybe
making?
the leader of the official opposition should put the question to the president again. It's possible that he didn't hear it, but we cannot allow the president to treat parliament with disdain like he's doing. It's completely unacceptable. This is the attitude that you see in most members of the executive who refuse to answer questions here or absent themselves when we deliver member statements in this house. They are taking cue from the president. Mami njalo, inyani.
Honorable Kwankwa.
Wenza unothanda umongameli
I'm
akasiyeke.
not doing that. I'm asking Honorable Cebekulu, who is
No,
the
Chair.
next
Speaker,
person.
Honorable Speaker, this is what we went through when we were trying to
I
hold
did not,
him
I have
accountable.
not recognized you.
No,
so
but
please
because I've
take,
been having my
take your
hand
seat.
up for a long time and you haven't
Please take your
recognized me.
seat. Please take your seat. Babu Shenge.
A request from me, because when members are answering questions, when all this is going on, can I plead that the president be allowed to sit down, please?
Yes.
And not, I don't need your assistance. Can I request that he be allowed? He's still the head of state, whether we like him or not. You know, for him to stand while all this is going on, I don't think it's right. I'm just pleading for him to be allowed to take a seat while all this is going on.
Actually, there's no problem with the Honorable the President taking a seat in the meantime. Honorable,
umthetho uthi umuntu uhlala phansi akathi kuyakhulunywa endlini uma ngenyawo
and
akumiwe endlini ngenyawo.
Honorable Cebekulu, ask your supplementary question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
No, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker.
We have not received an answer, and we went through the same thing
Honorable
when we were dealing
members,
with the issue
take-
of Nkandla.
take your seat,
and
honorable
you kept
members.
covering up.
No,
You
take your
answered
seat.
questions
Honorable
we haven't
Cebekulu
answered. It was
has
a
the
simple
floor.
question, yes
Honorable
or no.
Speaker.
And we are rendering this parliament absolutely useless if you can't
Seat.
do a
Take
basic
your
job
seat.
as giving directive to the executive what
Take
you're
your
supposed to do
seat.
and say, answer the question, whether we like it or
Take
not.
your seat,
He's supposed
honorable
to
member.
say yes or no. He hasn't answered the question.
Can you take your seat?
No, but why are you not doing
Take
your
your
job?
seat.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Cebekulu, please ask your
sorry,
supplementary. No, please ask, let Honorable Cebekulu ask his
Honorable
supplementary.
Speaker.
Honorable Tawama, please take your seat.
Speaker,
And let Honorable Cebekulu.
Honorable
Can you
Speaker,
recognize?
Honorable
Why
Leader
are you
of the
allowing the
Opposition, you have
President?
asked your supplementary question.
I want a point of privilege.
No, ngicela
Please,
uhlale
can,
phansi, baba.
ngiyacela, ma'am.
Cha, ngicela uhlale
Please,
phansi.
Honorable
can I
Speaker.
take a point of order? Because this is crucial. I'm not wanting to disrupt the process. I'm not asking for any complication.
You are just complicating my life.
No, 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 no. When you ask a question, you expect an answer. The question is quite simple. It says someone is lying to South Africa about
We've
the
heard
president.
the question.
I'm asking if the president is going to take.
We have
Mr.
heard the
Simons
question
to
and the
court.
president says he has answered
not.
you.
He has not.
So
My
you
right
are not
is suppressed.
satisfied.
On a point
Follow
of order.
that up.
No,
Not
he-
now,
my
not
right
here.
is suppressed.
I'm now asking Honorable
On a point
Cebekulu,
of order, Speaker.
who has
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
What's the point of order?
The answer is
The
pretty...
leader of the opposition is actually saying that the president is lying. Is it parliamentary? Please make a ruling on it. And I'm also rising in accordance with rule number 61. That actually states that
Honorable Speaker,
for
on a
now
point
we are
of order.
actually having behavior that's grossly disorderly. The conduct of the opposition in this house is grossly disorderly. And I want to read this rule in conjunction with rule number 92 to say that they are so disorderly. And also 92 says when you've made a ruling, there shouldn't be any point of order that follows your ruling. Whenever you make a ruling, the opposition must comply so that it can actually help us to run business of this house in a sane manner. I thank you.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable member,
Honorable
you
Speaker.
might have interpreted it that way, but he did not actually say it. And therefore, I want to proceed to Honorable Cebekulu and ask Honorable
Speaker.
Kata,
No,
Honorable
Honourable
Kata
Speaker.
and Honorable Hlowama. I'm
Speaker.
asking you both to take your seats. And
Honourable Speaker.
Allow us to deal with the
Honourable
president.
Speaker.
Honorable Hlowama, take your seat. Honorable Kata, take your
Honourable
seat.
Speaker, you ignored us, but you take
Honourable
ANC
Speaker,
to
just
rise
tell
on
the
a point
president
of
to
order.
answer that
But we've
question
been standing
first.
You
long
can't
before
both
the
talk at the
ANC.
same time.
Why
You
did you
can't.
again recognize the
You can't
ANC who
both
came
talk at the same
after
time.
me
And Honorable
after
Kata,
Honourable Hlowama?
take your seat.
No, I'm not.
Honorable
You want to
Speaker.
rather leave the House?
Honorable Speaker.
Honourable Speaker, I have been standing on a point of
I
order
will
and
switch
you
your
have to
mic off,
recognize
Honorable
me.
Kata. I'm switching your mic off because you don't want to cooperate. Honorable Cebekulu, ask your supplementary question.
Madam Speaker.
Mine as well as off.
Madam
Honorable
Speaker.
Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I haven't raised on a point of order all day yet.
No,
Can you
Honourable.
please recognize me?
No.
Rule 91.
Honorable members, we've
Madam
wasted
Speaker.
an hour now.
Yeah,
Honorable Speaker, it's
No,
not
I'm
us.
not allowing it.
Madam
I'm
Speaker,
taking Honorable Cebekulu's follow-up
the
question.
Constitution
Honorable Speaker,
compels
can you
us
recognize
to
me,
hold the
please?
executive to account.
Honorable Cebekulu.
If anybody's giving you a hard time, Madam Speaker, it's the President, by once again disregarding and trampling the
Honorable
Constitution.
Waters, please take your
I'm
seat.
rising on a point of order.
No,
Rule 91.
I'm not
You have
taking
to
your point of
recognize me.
order. I
You
told
have
you,
to. No,
I
you've
told
got
you
to.
I'm not taking any
You've
more
got to
points of
recognize
order.
me, Chair. The
Ask your
chairperson-
question, Honorable
The
Cebekulu.
President claims that he's answered the question.
However,
However, Madam Speaker,
Honorable
the
Honorable
follow-up
Waters.
question, the follow-up
Honourable Speaker, you did not give any warning for switching that mic off.
The follow-up question was different. So the President could not have actually answered. Hello? So
Honourable Speaker.
the follow-up question was different.
Madam Speaker.
Hello?
Madam
Therefore,
Speaker. Madam Speaker.
The follow-up question could not have been answered because it was different to the original one that's in the question paper, Madam Speaker. The question was, will the President take legal action against Mr. Sims, who has claimed in an affidavit that the President did indeed put pressure on officials to give contracts to his family members? And the President has not answered the question. It's a simple yes or no, and you are not doing your constitutional obligations by forcing him to answer the question.
Order. Order, honorable members.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable President, given that there has been such a great deal given that there's been such a great deal of controversy that one can almost say has been a hallmark of your presidency around members of your immediate family and friends who have financially benefited from state contracts because of influence exercised by you and you to deny this. Mr. President, can I take you back to 2009 to a meeting with Mr. Jacinto Rocha, who was summoned to a meeting with you, your son Tutuzane, and Mr. Tony Gupta, where you expressly told Mr. Rocha, who held a senior position in the Department of Mineral Resources, to help Tutuzane wherever he could, as Tutuzane was the only child involved with money. Was this not the start of the Zuma empire being built with undue presidential influence being exercised by you on civil servants for the direct benefit of your family. I thank you.
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've never sat in a meeting with the name of a person I don't know. I've never sat in a meeting and asked anyone to help Tutuzane. Never. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Sheikh Imam.
Honourable Speaker, on a point of order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Speaker, on a point of order.
Honourable Carter, I've told you I was
Honourable
done with your
Speaker,
points
the
of order.
President is
Please
misleading
take
the
your
House.
seat.
The
Honourable
President
Carter.
is misleading the House. There is evidence to
Honourable
prove that he had a
Carter,
meeting.
take your seat.
He is once again lying to South Africa.
Madam Speaker, let me start off by acknowledging what my colleague from EFF said. She said I was useless. Let me tell this House, Madam Speaker, that this particular member has a great opportunity in this House, the only opportunity to be able to say something. Because in her very own party, she's voiceless. When the boss says sit, she sits. When he says stand, she stands. When he says jump, so this is an opportunity.
On a point of order, Chair. On a point of order, Chair, he must withdraw. Or he's going to meet. Can you withdraw that? Because you don't sit in our party meetings and you don't know what's going on. So can you get him to withdraw, Honourable Speaker?
Honourable Sheikh Imam, there's been a request for you to withdraw, saying a member gets up when a boss tells her to get up. There's a request for you to withdraw that.
But Madam Speaker, that's common knowledge throughout South Africa.
He doesn't sit in our meetings.
They
he
do
must
what
withdraw.
they are told. I mean, that's clear. They don't have a voice. And they don't serve the people of this country either. They do
Honourable
nothing.
Matese, please take your seat also.
Speaker,
We're not here for you to...
Leli party agent belikhuluma ngami ngiphumile. Engangijwayeli kabi mina.
Hlala phansi, Mama Mhlophe.
Madam Speaker.
No, honourable member. Can you allow the honourable member to ask his supplementary question?
No, I was going to ask him to comply to your ruling, please. Ask him to comply to your ruling.
Okay, I don't need your help though. Just take your seat. Can you withdraw, Honourable Sheikh Imam?
I withdraw, Madam Speaker, in the interest of the decorum of this House. Mr. President, what is very, very clear, and I know many people are talking about a commission of inquiry into capture, into members having interest in business, and what, Mr. President, we are 23 years into democracy. The economy is still in the control of a few, with contracts running to 30-year contracts that were issued just before the 1994 election. Can you tell the House, Mr. President, in South Africa, that any inquiry will include all state capture or all influence that past and present members may have had, business and industry, whether it's finance, whether it's the motor vehicle trade, whatever industry, to ensure that all that will be investigated in the interest of radical economic transformation? Thank you.
The Honourable the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I've said that I'm pursuing the issue of the Commission. I'm looking at the terms of reference, and they will deal with the matters of corruption, and indeed, how far it goes, that will also be known when we announce the Commission, as well as what type of either state capture or whatever that we'll be dealing with, or the kind of corruption that will indicate some capture of one kind or the other. So those matters will be addressed by the Commission. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Mente.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Babaga Duduzane, this issue of Mr. Roach is on record. Here is a man who says he sat with you in a meeting with your son, and you said he must sort out your son. And those allegations are so serious in a country where...
I see Honorable Chauke. Are you rising on a point?
Hey, Chauke bana, unyaka poso na. Ulaba poso.
Speaker, you have,
Chauke.
you have made a ruling.
Order.
Ulaba poso.
Yes.
So disparate, Chauke ulaba poso.
You have made a ruling, that we are going to refer and address the president as the president of the
ulaba
Republic.
poso man from Northwest.
Therefore, Speaker, you need to maintain the decision that you have taken, how we must address the president. Please can you maintain that?
Honorable Malema, please address the Honorable the President as the Honorable the President.
Honorable Babaga Duduzane.
Honorable Malema.
If I touch honorable.
I said address him as the Honorable the President.
There is no rule that says I must say Honorable President. It says Honorable or Mr. Okay, Mr. Zuma. Now, there is an allegation of state capture. Here is a man who puts you right at the center of a state capture. You don't do anything about him. You don't take legal action against him. Or if you don't want to take a legal action against him, you don't say to him, withdraw that unfounded allegation against me for the sake of the good image of the office you are occupying, or else I will take action. You don't say any of those things. And then you come here and say there's no such a thing. Why are you not taking actions against people who are putting you right at the center of a state capture? People say you've got a house in Dubai, you don't take action. People say you are working with the Guptas to appoint ministers and all that. That one I know you are doing. You don't take action against such people, including, amongst others, the newspapers and all forms of media who make this allegation. Why are you not taking action, at least to protect the good image of the office if you don't care personally? That office.
The Honorable the President.
Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether members want to play politics. Firstly, people every day say something about President Zuma in this country. Should I stand every day, take everybody to court? You say a lot of things about me. Should I do so? If I were
you
to
can
do
take
so,
me to court. You can, no,
He's answering
this is
you,
not your house.
Honorable Malema.
This is not
Honorable
your house.
Malema,
This is
it's not
Parliament.
your turn. Honorable Malema. Point of order. Honorable
Everyone
Malema.
speaks here. This is our house.
No,
Yes, you
Honorable
can-
Malema, you
you
have
can
asked
take
your
action
question.
against me. You can take action against
I don't take actions against people like yourself, generally. I don't do it. I don't take actions in court against people like yourself. I don't, honorable member. Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I've answered the question.
No, on a point of order, Speaker. On a point of order.
Yes, honorable member.
No, Speaker. Baba Duduzana can't come here and
No,
spend the
honorable member.
tax of this country
No, honorable member.
under false pretense that he's coming to account as an
No,
executive
honorable member.
and say nothing. He says he has answered the question. Which question he has answered? He only said he's not taking people to
Honorable
court.
member.
Why is he doing it? He must answer the question.
No,
he can't
honorable
come here and
member,
say
don't
nothing.
do that.
Otherwise, this house then,
Don't do
you must
that,
just call it
honorable
off.
member.
Call off this whole proceedings. We are wasting time here.
We are.
No, we are
agree with
wasting
you.
time. He is
I
saying
agree
nothing.
with you.
He did not
We've
answer the
wasted
question
a lot
of the
of
DA.
time. I
He's
agree
not
with you.
answering the question of the EFF, but he answers the question of that party agent who's useless.
Honorable members, I see a forest of hands from the
Madam Speaker.
EFF benches. Honorable members,
Madam Speaker,
I am not taking your hands.
can you recognize me?
No, honorable member.
Ma'am, it's an extremely important point of order.
I'm sure all of them are very
I'm sorry,
extremely
ma'am.
urgent.
This is
I urge
only the
you to
second time.
take your seat, honorable members, for us to proceed.
Can I ask one question, ma'am? Point of order, please. Because, Mr. President, this is an extremely important, this pertains to the office of the president. The office of the president is being put into
Honorable
disrepute
member,
here.
please take your seat. I
We are
have not
asking you, how
recognized
are you going to protect that office?
Take your
It's
seat,
not personal,
honorable
it's
member.
not about you. How do you protect
Take your seat,
president
honorable
office,
member.
which is being put into disrepute for the country, not for you?
Honorable members.
Siyacela, baba, siyacela.
Honorable
Please
members.
answer the nation.
Honorable member, take your seat.
Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I just want to get clarity. You're saying you're not going to take point of orders from EFF. What is that? You must not do that to us. We are here, we are honorable members, and we're going to ask this man of Uganda everything that he wants. By the way, Mr. Zuma, we think you are a criminal. That's what we think of you.
Honorable member.
There's nothing we're going to change.
Honorable members, I have asked you again and again, after having told you I'm done with taking points of order from you, because you have abused the time. I have asked you to take your seats again and again. You know yourselves.
Speaker.
You know yourselves.
Speaker.
Your conduct is really interfering. It's interfering with the business and the pace of our ability to proceed with the questions to the president.
Ushawuka ufuna axolisa uthena ukuthi uZuma akayena umlisa.
Honorable
Akakhokha
Khawula.
inkomo lowa ya.
Honorable Khawula.
Uyamhlaza.
Honorable
ukuthi akuyena
Khawula,
umlisa lo.
I'm switching off your mic.
Mlisa, mhlawulisa na Zuma.
Speaker.
Honorable Chauke.
Speaker, I thought you'll make a ruling. A member has just called the president a criminal. I thought you'll be able to make a ruling. Please.
Honorable member who called the president a criminal, withdraw that. Withdraw that, honorable member. I saw you. Yes, withdraw.
Speaker, all I said is that, Mr. President, we think you are a criminal.
Withdraw that, honorable member, because you know it's wrong to do it that way. I told you that when you have to do...
Which is the right way to tell?
When the right way is to appropriately draft a well-considered, well-formulated motion.
But it's here. I want
a
to save the
substantiated
resources. I want to
motion.
save state resources because
I am saying
So that's why I'm
withdraw
telling
it,
him here
honorable
right now.
member.
Okay,
Withdraw
I withdraw.
it. Honorable members, I proceed to question number 15 asked by Honorable Kekana.
Point of
and
order.
I call upon the Honorable the President.
Point of order.
I'm not taking a point of order anymore, I told you.
Speaker, the rules...
Honorable
also-
Dozie, I told you.
But I know it's difficult, but you have to take it.
No, Honorable.
I know it's tough,
I'm not-
to be
I'm
there
not going to allow the
all
afternoon
the
to
time
go.
when Obaba is in the house, but you have to take it.
Honorable
It's the rules.
Josie, no.
Point of order,
You are
Speaker.
not going to abuse the rules and waste the time of the House and say, you have to do it. I am not allowing you, Honorable.
Speaker, you don't know what I'm going to say, whether I'm going to abuse or misuse. It's a point of order. You are a speaker, you must take it.
I'm asking the Honorable the President to answer question number 15. Honorable
Speaker,
President.
South Africa has the only African member of the G20, uses her participation to advance the African agenda of sustainable development, inclusive growth, the reduction of inequality, and the promotion of a just economic world order. Sustainable inclusive development was given deeper meaning and emphasis during the Chinese presidency of the G20 last year, and was taken further during the German presidency this year. During the last summit in Hamburg, Germany, the G20 launched the G20 African Partnership, which strives to renew efforts for sustainable economic development in Africa. This initiative is designed to support private investment, sustainable infrastructure development, and employment in African countries. Investment compacts have already been committed to by a few African countries. A number of projects have been adopted as part of the G20 Africa Partnership aimed at ensuring the inclusion of marginalized and vulnerable groups in our society. These include the hashtag Skills for Girls, the G20 Initiative for Rural Youth Employment, and the Women Entrepreneurs Financing Initiatives. South Africa uses its position as co-chair of the G20 Development Working Group to promote pro-poor and pro-Africa projects. The working group launched the important G20 initiative on supporting industrialization in Africa and the least developed countries.
Madam Speaker.
Focus
Madam
is
Speaker.
on women
Madam
and
Speaker.
Youth to
Madam Speaker.
promote science,
We rise in terms
technology,
of Rule
and
83, not a point of order,
innovation
Madam Speaker. Rule
as
83.
critical means
Can we
for
read
industrialization.
Rule 83?
Do not interrupt when there's a speaker
South
on the
Africa.
podium.
No, Rule
Do not
83
interrupt.
allows it. Rule 83.
Order, Honorable President, can you
83,
take
Madam
your
Speaker.
seat, Honorable President? But
Rule
Honorable Member,
83.
you can't just come up and speak.
It's Rule 83. Let us remove
there's
Rule
no
83.
rule that allows you to
Can
interrupt.
I read it?
No,
The
I'm
table
not.
must
I
read
do
for
not
you.
want to allow you to disrupt when
It's Rule
somebody is.
83.
No.
It's Rule 83,
There
Madam
is
Speaker.
no rule that makes a person
Member
have to
must
interrupt
far
another
as
one.
possible refrain from reading his or
Honorable.
his speech, but may refresh his or
Honorable.
her memory by referring to the notes. He's
Can you
overreading
take-
too much.
Can you take your seat?
But the Rule 83, Madam Speaker, it's fine.
Honorable President, please finish your question.
South Africa also uses its position as co-chair of the development working group to
order,
advocate support for low income and developing
Speaker.
countries to secure energy security,
Speaker, point of order.
food security, infrastructure development, and
Point
to
of order,
mobilize
Speaker.
domestic resources.
Rule 92.2.
Honorable Speaker,
Speaker, Rule
as co-chair of
92.2.
the G20 Development Working Group, South Africa
Point of
also
order, Speaker.
introduced
We may stand up
initiatives
exactly
to
at
address
the occurrence
cross-border
of the disorder.
financial flows derived
Allow me
illicit
to address you.
activities. These
Speaker, you cannot
comprehensive
ignore
financial
us. There are rules in this
regulatory
house. I'm standing
reforms,
on point of the
efforts
rules.
to make the international
Speaker, allow
tax
me.
system more transparent, as well as tackling corruption in both the public and private sector. The G20 has also agreed that low-income and developing countries, especially in Africa, must be assisted with tax administration, capacity challenges,
Speaker, order.
so that they do not
Order, Speaker.
much needed.
Rule
revenue.
92. The president is in breach of Rule 83.
I have recently
Rule 92.
appointed
No, honorable
an
member, take your
interministerial
seat.
Sub Rule 2
co-chaired
says I have
by
a
the
right to
Minister
rise when on the
International
occurrence of the
Relations
contravention of the rule. You are now contravening
Cooperation
Rule
and
83.
Finance.
You are expected to refresh
Whose
on your
task
notes, not to read them.
to
Please
ensure
rule on that.
G20
Can you sustain my ruling?
resolutions that promote a better life for our people are implemented. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Kekana.
Thank you, the Honorable Speaker. Honorable President, as the co-chair of the G20 Development Working Group, in the execution of your responsibilities, will you consult with other African countries in order to get their buy-in? In line with your commitment of the concept of inclusivity, as stated at the recent BRICS leadership meeting at the G20 summit in July 2017.
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yes, the consultations have started already. When the G20 sits, there are those who get invited in Africa, the chairperson of the AU and the chairperson of NEPAD. And we consult when we are there. We have already consulted.
Point of order.
And we'll be going forward
uMangameli umbonile
to
nabo
consult
usibani wakhe qhamuka
other countries in the
ngaphesheya.
continent,
Sizani.
particularly those who operate under the NEPAD, who are looking at the economy of the continent. So that will be done particularly because G20 has committed itself that it is going to support the countries in Africa by establishing this partnership. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Carter.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. President, in your reply in tackling corruption and ensuring a better life for all of our people, I would like to ask you, Mr. Zuma, did your meeting with Russian businessman Vladimir Evtushenkov in Davos in January 2015 and the other meetings here in South Africa influence your decision to appoint Silas Zimu as your special advisor on energy? And is Evtushenkov's
Madam Speaker.
business one of the potential buyers of a telecom shares which government is planning
Honorable
to sell?
Carter, just 1 second. Here's Honorable
Madam Speaker,
Steenhuisen.
Rule 91, I don't know if the sound's not travelling up there, but it's very clear that the government benches are making cat sounds. You would know that we have had previous rulings in the House that members may not make animal sounds when other people are speaking, and that you need to, as the Speaker, ensure that all parties can participate in a manner befitting our democracy. Please will you ask the government benches to grow up and behave?
Honorable members, cat sounds are not allowed in the House while another honorable member is speaking. Can we allow Honorable Carter to finish?
It's Councillor Mabe, Speaker, so she must withdraw what she's doing. It's Councillor Mabe. That one there that failed in Mukhale seat.
Honorable Carter, go on, finish your question.
I'm not sure if the president actually heard the complete question, okay? But just in his meeting with FD...
Order, honorable members, allow Honorable Carter to ask her question.
In January 2015 and the other meetings that he had here in South Africa, did his meeting with them influence the appointment of Jacob Zuma as your special advisor on energy? And is the Evtushenkov's Sistema business one of the potential buyers of the telecom shares which government is planning to sell off? Thank you.
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There is no Russian business person who influenced me to appoint Zuma as the advisor on energy. I took my decision. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Kwankwa.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable President, given the rise in nationalist and protectionist sentiments, particularly in the US and the UK, how does South Africa intend to use its co-chairing of the G20 Development Working Group and its membership of BRICS to reform the global order and in particular to balance against the hegemony of the US in the global system in line with our geostrategic interests? Thank you.
The Honorable the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Firstly, our participation in G20 or BRICS is informed by the interests of the country, the interests of the continent. Secondly, we do not necessarily police countries on the kind of attitude they take to the world. We have our own beliefs as a country, as the continent. We know when some countries take particular positions, either by the elections, if a particular party wishes known that it has a particular kind of direction as it has happened in the United States, and we can't interfere with those kind of politics. We address the kind of relationships that must help to promote how our country benefits in such relations, as well as the continent. Particularly if you talk about G20, we look at what is it that needs to be done in the main to strengthen the relations, but also to prioritize the developing countries, that they should have a fair deal when they deal with big countries. We don't necessarily attack the policies of countries. We could respond to the actions those countries take if those actions interfere with the global understanding of how things should flow in terms of government, etc. With regard to the BRICS, BRICS discusses the approach which is different from the approach that is followed by other big countries. And there is absolutely no feeling that there could be a wrong development. We work together, we develop, we are growing as the group of countries to address the plight of the poor people and the plight of our countries. And this is what we do, particularly if you serve in a group like the one I'm referring to of the G20. We discuss the problems, the economic problems of the globe and what could be the kind of possible solutions that could be brought to either reduce the impact, which would be negative economically, and how to ignite the economy, how to address the issues that we all know, for an example, like growing unemployment, because it is a global challenge, like the unemployed youth, like the widening gap between the rich and the poor. These are the issues we discuss. In other words, we discuss the issues as to how do we help the society and how the world could work together to deal with the solutions that will make the world be better than what it is. And those are the issues we deal with. We don't get into the domestic policies of countries. We deal with the global issues as well as the actions, if those countries are taking actions that we feel they are not helping the global relations. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Zokuyisekela Mongameli. Honorable the Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. President, recently you traveled to Zambia. You arrived there and you had a meeting with your compatriot there, Mr. Lungu. Now, sitting in the gallery today is the leader of the opposition from Zambia, who happened to have been detained in prison for over 100 days under the charges of treason, under this notion that he ought to be taught a lesson. My biggest concern is that, in fact, our government has neither condemned those actions and not spoken out against them. I want to know, Mr. President, will you tell Mr. Ichilema, who is sitting here, why the South African government failed SADC by not condemning its action and violation of human rights that took place there in Zambia? Could you explain it to him?
President.
On the point of order, Chair. Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Hadebe.
Let us be fair. The question which is being made by the leader of the opposition is different from the main question which is there, which is dealing with BRICS and consultation about the other things, not about Zambia. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. The President, you have a choice. Go ahead, Honorable President.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Firstly, as I was discussing, we're dealing with the relations of the countries globally, which are basically the relations between countries and also the relations that are defined in the multilateral, institutions. Now, what I said here, and I was very clear, we do not interfere in the politics of countries. We don't. That's our policy. We don't. If countries do whatever they do, as I said, it depends if it is a kind of an action that interferes with the flow of the relations in terms of the global or continental or bilateral. So if countries get into problems, we are not an opposition in Zambia. We can't go there and participate in either side. Because if the leader of the opposition in Zambia, if he wins elections, will relate to that party as a party, and if they've got particular views about the opposition, we are not going to get then discuss the matters of Zambia, nor the matters of any country. We are very careful how we conduct our foreign policy. We create relations, we don't enter, we don't interfere in the domestic affairs of countries. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable President, the next question is asked by Honorable Zuma.
Honorable Speaker, government monitoring and evaluation programs have become invaluable tools in helping us to identify service delivery successes as well as challenges, with the aim of improving governance and service delivery to our people. The Presidential Siahlola Monitoring Program was launched in July 2012. Through this program, the President visits communities to inspect and assess progress made in delivering basic services to the people. The Siyahlola visits focus on specific basic services delivery issues such as water, electricity, education, health, or any other issue that a particular community has raised as a concern or which government undertook to act upon. Government departments and agencies undertake follow-ups after the presidential visit and ensure that issues raised by the community are attended to. Since the beginning of this year, the Siyahlola visits have been undertaken focusing on the fight against crime at Kwamhlabuya Lingana in KZN, where the community had complained about the theft of vehicles which are taken to Mozambique, and to Soshanguve in Tswane, where the community faces serious challenges relating to drug abuse and resultant crimes. A visit was also undertaken to Nyanga in Cape Town, which has been dubbed the murder capital of the country, where people live in fear of attacks daily. The presidential Siyahlola visit also took us to Lusikisiki in the Eastern
Point of
Cape
order,
to tackle crime. Work is still
Honorable President,
ongoing.
let's
in
give a
these-
chance. What's your point of order?
Ngiyabonga ku rule 45. Bengifuna ukwazi ukuthi umangameli lokho esithethe uyahlola ubala nenyanga yonke into ngabe uhlola intombi noma mhlambe sekuthenwa izangoma ukuthi
That's
ihlole
not a point of
nangazi.
order. Take your seat, honorable member. Honorable members, frivolous points of order are not allowed. They are disruptive of members who are of the person on the podium. Mr. President, please go ahead.
Work is still ongoing in these areas to advance the fight against crime and also to deal with other socio-economic issues raised by the communities. Other government monitoring mechanisms in place include the Presidential Imbizo program, through which the President, accompanied by ministers, premiers, deputy ministers, MECs, and mayors, interacts with members of the community and hear their concerns and suggestions. In addition to the presidential Imbizo, the government communications and information system, GCIS, organizes comprehensive and extensive formal Imbizo Focus Week programs where ministers and deputy ministers visit various communities for feedback and to monitor the implementation of programs. There is also the presidential hotline, which citizens use to report service delivery challenges in their communities. As at the end of July 2017, the main issues citizens complained about were employment, housing, water, electricity, and civic issues such as the need for birth certificates or identity documents. In addition, over 900 government facilities have been visited through the DPME's frontline service delivery monitoring programs, which was launched in 2011. Service improvements programs were agreed to for these facilities following the visit. The Department of Public Service and Administration leads the Batupili People First program of government, which promotes citizen care in the public service. Through Project Kaedu, run by the DPSA, senior managers undergo training and visit the coal face, spending at least a week gaining a first-hand account of people's experience of government services. The Department of Social Development runs projects Mikondo, through which they visit communities and identify people in need of assistance, including orphans and vulnerable children, the aged and infirm. Destitute families, required food or medical care are identified during such visits and are given assistance. Importantly, the Department of Cooperative Governance runs the Back to Basics program aimed at monitoring and improving the performance of local government. Office of the Premier and the Mayors also undertake direct monitoring of service delivery, a key factor that has arisen, Honorable Speaker, is the need to promote integrated planning and work among departments and among the three spheres of government. It is for this reason that the Siahlola and Imbizo programs bring together all three spheres of government in addressing specific service delivery issues. If people complain about water, they are likely to need electricity or transport as well, which means all affected departments and spheres of government should work together, putting the citizens first. We have also identified communication as a key challenge. Government may think a community needs a school first, when they actually need a clinic first, and the school later. We will continue to use these programs to improve governance and also to keep in close contact with the citizens that we serve. I thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Deputy Chair.
Honorable Lisoma.
Deputy Chair.
Yeah.
Oh, Speaker, sorry. Can you just please remind Mr. President Zuma that of Rule, what is this? Rule 82, Rule 83, that says a member must, as far as possible, refrain from reading his or her speech, but may refresh his or her memory by referring to notes. So please kindly, I know your previous Honorable Speaker was feeling a bit tired, but can you please advise, because, thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Lisoma, please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. His Excellency, the Honorable President, I am sure Siahlola Presidential Monitoring Program is also aimed at developing necessary interventions where deemed necessary, informed by material conditions on the ground findings and community response in the said Izimbizos. Are there any, Honorable President, are there any specific areas of improvement that were triggered by the program, and what has been the community response in this respect? Thank you.
Honorable President.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Yes, in a number of areas that we have gone, there has been a response to the from the communities who have seen the difference. I think the recent one that we went to was KwaMhlabi Lingana in Gwavuma. Ever since we went there, where there was a lot of crime, cars being taken, and the police also, they were complaining about the police. We went there, the situation has changed, they've sent messages to thank the government. Indeed, even a new police station is being built as a result of that visit, and the cars, the stealing of cars crossing the border has gone down. So that is one example, and there are many other examples where the Siatlola has helped. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Mhlongo, SP Mhlongo.
No, Deputy Speaker, what I wanted to find out, where does the monitoring ministry located in presidency report, and how does it report? Because we have never received any report of monitoring and evaluation ministry as this House.
Honorable President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The minister responsible for performance monitoring and evaluation reports to the cabinet, like all other ministers, as to what is happening. In fact, the reports are always given, even in the extended cabinet, Lekgotla, it's always given, the report, and it becomes part of the broader government reporting. So the reports are given all the time. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Carter.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, well, Mr. Zuma, the Constitution provides that the President exercises executive authority by, amongst other means, developing and implementing national policy and coordinating the functions of state departments and administration. Now, Mr. Zuma, the NDP is our country's roadmap aimed at reducing poverty, inequality, and unemployment. The Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation in the Presidency exists largely as a measure to ensure the effective implementation of an NDP. Now, Mr. Zuma, given our rising poverty, inequality and unemployment, rampant corruption, including state capture, an inability to develop a capable state, an inability to give effect to the NDP, and this all under your presidency, would you agree that you have failed to ensure meaningful implementation, monitoring and evaluation, and thus have failed to properly give effect to the executive authority conferred upon you by the Constitution? Thank you.
Honorable President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. As I answered this question, the reports are given periodically about the implementation of the NDP, and there is progress that is known, that is reported all the time. As I say, that department reports in a number of very serious gatherings of government. So there is progress that is being made. It's not correct to say there is nothing or there is a failure. There's no failure. There is, in fact, the NDP is discussed continuously by the cabinet, looking at how far we have gone. In fact, besides that, there are outcomes that government judges itself how far it is going on a number of tasks that have been given, which are tasks that are implementing the NDP. So there is no truth from the point that it is failing. It is being implemented, and we are making progress, not at the same level in different aspects of government. Others are moving faster than others, others are not. But it is moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Bulko.
Sorry, yeah, I picked up the wrong one. She sits here normally. Sorry, I'll take the question.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Honorable.
Would it not be correct? I mean, Mr. President, we must assume that nobody wants to monitor and evaluate your finances, and you certainly come here and really obfuscate the questions. But my real problem, Mr. President, is that in fact recent events have shown that South African, particularly poor South Africans and black South Africans, are getting poorer. When it comes to the issue of monitoring and evaluation, your government ensured that 100 mentally ill patients were not looked after. It became very clear about the fact that in the Stats SA report that came out last week, that in fact 30.4 million South Africans are now living in poverty. It is clear the ANC government fails poor people. I don't think we should debate the issue. What I want to know is what actions has your government taken, noting all of these reports and the M&E report, to in fact deal with the situation of poor people and the absolute levels of poverty increasing under your watch and this government that sits here, especially for poor South Africans who are sitting at home. Thank you.
Honorable President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Certainly, this government has worked and has made progress. We have, as government, reported in this parliament through ministers. They have made reports about what progress they've made. In addition to that, everybody agrees that in South Africa, the poor people are better off than what they were in general. We are aware that there has been a report by the State South Africa that was indicating some shortcomings that have been there, but no one can say we have not made progress. Poor people agree that we have made progress. And that's a question of how far do you deal with the legacy of where we come from? Because there are specific things that make our people, perhaps the pace to be slower than it would have been in other countries. So we have made progress. We have not claimed that we have solved all problems. We have always said that we have made progress, but there are still many challenges because of the tasks that we have to deal with, of the legacy of apartheid. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. We're moving to the next question. It looks like it's also asked by the Leader of the Opposition to the President. President.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, the proclamation has been signed and was referred to the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development for publication. I thank you.
The Leader of the Opposition.
Ngiyabonga. Mr. President, I welcome your decision to issue the proclamation on SAA. And I think naturally the question has to ask, there are problems with other SOEs. And I want to look at one in particular because my earlier question, which you did not answer, highlighted the fact that there were business deals that you are doing. Now, another close associate of yours is the chair of SAA. And the real challenge is that over the last number of years, SAA have been given 23.3 billion rands of poor people's money. We've taken poor people's money to subsidize an airline that is run by a close associate of yours. Isn't it about time that we take decisive action and remove the board, especially Mrs. Mieni, out of that board of SAA, get a competent leadership so we can turn the airline around and deliver on state-owned enterprises? Thank you.
On the point of order. On the point of order, Deputy Speaker. Definitely, the question is in connection with SABC,
Yes.
not SAA. So I
Yes.
don't know what's happening.
Yes,
Please.
I agree with you. That's a different issue altogether, honorable member.
Deputy Speaker.
Honorable President,
Honorable
like
Kadi,
earlier on, you
Deputy
have
Speaker.
a choice because it is completely irrelevant. So you have a choice, Deputy President.
That's a proper ruling. I was coming there.
You, Honorable Gadi, don't, when you are not recognized, speak. The rules says that. So please obey the rule. You check it there in front of you. Go ahead.
Deputy Speaker, with respect, Deputy Speaker, I don't think it's fair for you as a supposedly impartial chair to rule that somebody's question is irrelevant. It's not irrelevant.
Honorable-
it may be
Honorable
not to your
Steenhuisen-
liking,
Honorable
but I don't think it's
Steenhuisen-
correct for you as a presiding officer
Honorable
to be saying
Steenhuisen,
things are irrelevant. It's
I
not
have
irrelevant.
I have ruled on this matter. The President is going to decide how he deals with that question. President?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Firstly, the specific company that we are referring to of the South African Airways, this company has never been on top of the world. It has had problems all the time. Long before the people who are working there now, you would absolutely appreciate that at one point we had to get an expert from United States who did not also help the problem. In fact, the people we are referring to now, the fact that the portfolio committee for the first time got a report of corruption in SAA is because of the people we are talking about who made that possible. All others who have been there before, we did not get that report. And that report indicates that the corruption has been going on for a long time. What has happened is that a decision has been taken to recapitalize SAA and turn it around. There are also other plans to deal with the SAA, which will be announced not long, so that it becomes the company that we all want. I don't think you can blame anyone on a company that has been in difficulties for a long time.
Deputy Speaker.
You can blame many people who can have a long list of saying these are the
Deputy
individuals
Speaker, the President
who failed.
cannot stand up here and lie. There was Mem Caesar Mela here.
Honorable Gadi.
It can't happen that we are told that
Honorable Gadi.
there's been a problem
Honorable
in SAA
Gadi.
long before
Honorable
the
Gadi,
girlfriend
you are not
Tukulieni took
supposed to
over
talk
there.
when you are not recognized.
No, but you are not
And
doing your job, Deputy
Honorable
Speaker.
member,
You are not doing your job, Deputy
Honorable
Speaker.
member, you must also withdraw that the President is lying.
Or is misrepresenting the truth?
Honorable member, withdraw.
Who is misrepresenting the truth?
Honorable member, my question to you is please withdraw. Please withdraw.
We withdraw lying, but he's misrepresenting the truth and very economic
Honorable
with
member,
the facts.
Honorable member, Rule 79 says you may not speak when you are not recognized.
Now you are trying to find something
sit
else.
down.
We have
No,
dealt
no, no.
with that other
Sit
one.
down, honorable member.
We are saying
Take
the
your seat,
President
honorable
must
member.
find a way to answer
Honorable
the question
member,
correctly
we switch
and
off
not
your
tell
mic.
us the wrong things
Honorable
here.
member, I switch off your mic. I have already. All right, honorable member, that gesture is out of order and you must stop doing that, honorable member. Honorable member, you must stop doing that. It's out of order. Those gestures are out of order.
Point of order, Deputy Speaker, point of order.
Honorable members, can you please be in order?
Deputy Speaker.
Yes. Honorable Chauke, why?
The honorable member has just said you are Delela, and I see that you are just leaving it. I thought you
Honorable member.
He's the first one to
Honorable
use
member,
that word in
I am
Parliament.
speaking here.
It's his
Honorable
word.
member.
It's unparliamentary.
It's his words.
Honorable member.
He coined the word Delela in Parliament.
Honorable
Deputy Speaker.
Honorable members.
You were not here, Tatan. We understand.
Allow me to rule.
You are still with Supra there in
Honorable
the
member, can you take
Delela
your
was
seat?
introduced
Honorable
by
member,
that man on
Honorable
stage.
member, I'm switching off your mic. I am switching off your mic.
Deputy
you may
Speaker.
not speak when you are not recognized and you are out of order in the language you are using here.
All right,
Take your seat.
can you recognize
What's
me
your,
on a
what's
point,
your point
of order? Deputy Speaker, you can't say to a person you are not recognized but withdraw. How do they withdraw if you did not recognize
Honorable
them?
member, honorable member.
No,
can you please stop playing semantics and game? That's playing semantics. Of course,
are
if
you sure
stand
that's
up,
what I'm
honorable
doing?
member, if you stand up here and
Semantics.
make unparliamentary remarks,
Are
you
you
must
sure?
withdraw them. It does not matter.
Which
under what
rule
circum-
talks about
Honorable member,
semantics?
take your seat. Take your seat. Honorable President, please proceed.
Proceed, Deputy Speaker, before you proceed.
No, nobody appointed you, honorable member. Nobody
But you won't do it.
Don't say anybody.
No.
Honorable
no,
member. Kindly-
One rush.
You are not.
No, relax.
You are
one
not.
rush.
You are not recognized. Okay. And you will not
I'm
speak. I'm switching off your mic. I'm switching off your mic. I'm switching off your mic. Honorable member, take your seat. Take your seat. Take your seat, honorable member. Take your seat. Please take your seat. And members, we have business before us. What are you raising on, honorable
On a
member?
point of order.
What's your point of order?
A point of order is that Babaka Tutuzani can't come and distort fact here.
Honorable member.
Caesar, SAA was
Honorable
very well
Honorable
under
member.
Caesar Mzimela. So
Honorable member.
SAA is going down under
I am now stopping you from talking
your
because you
girlfriend,
refuse to
Baba.
accept. Honorable Tloama. Yes, honorable member.
My mic is off. No, we really rely on the presiding officers to maintain the decorum of the House. A member has just said now that there is something very bad, which I can't repeat it myself. And the speaker, I think that you have
Honorable
heard
member.
it, and,
Okay.
and I think that you should really make a proper ruling because it's uncalled for that we go to this extent, please, Deputy Speaker.
Yes.
Deputy Speaker,
Yes, honorable
Rule,
member
80,
White.
Rule 91, Deputy Speaker. It's not the Deputy Speaker's responsibility to maintain the decor of the House. That's the Household Services responsibility.
Honorable members, we have a duty. Honorable members, no, honorable.
No, Honorable Steenhuisen,
Can I-
it's semantics
Honorable-
already. It's
Honorable
just
member, Can I
semantics.
proceed? Honorable members, we have a duty here to ensure the smooth conduct of proceedings. We also have to ensure that the privileges of all members of the sitting are protected. If a member does not wish to participate in the proceeding, he or she is free to do so. Such a position, however, cannot mean that the House must be prevented from carrying out its constitutional mandate. What I see now is the abuse of the privilege of freedom of speech, and that is unacceptable. I warn members, I'm not taking any further points of order on this matter, because this procedure,
On a point of order, Deputy
honorable
Speaker,
member,
you can't make a ruling
I'm still
like that.
addressing, you may not do that. Honorable member, Rule 79 says you may not speak if you are
Don't
not
behave like a
recognized.
headman here.
When a presiding officer
This is not
addresses
some
the
rural
House,
meeting here that you can
honorable
regulate your own
member,
rules.
when
You're going to
a
take the
presiding
point of
officer,
order
I'm
here.
switching off your mic.
And we are not asking for.
Honorable members, a member conducting him or herself like this is acting disorderly, in contempt and in complete disregard of the chair. A member does this will be asked to leave the chamber in terms of Rule 70. Yeah. Honorable members, we have now pointed out the rules to you. Please do not violate them. And now we proceed with the business of the House. Honorable Tlowama, your supplementary question. Honorable members, order. Order, honorable member, order. Your heckling is becoming disruptive. Order.
Thank you.
Proceed, Honorable Tlowama.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable President, former Minister of Communication Faith Mutambi and Mr. Claudio Mutsweni have left SABC in tatters, and it is believed that they enjoy your company. Why are you always associated with incompetent or corrupt characters? When are you going to fire Minister Faith Mutambi?
Honorable President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I'm not firing Minister Mtambi. I've not taken that decision. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Gadi.
You have a minister who leaked cabinet memos here in terms of the Gupta.
Honorable member, what
you have
is
got Ubaba La saying is not going to.
Honorable member.
The question
Honorable
says,
member, the
what
rules
are
do
the
not allow you
reasons
to
for
do
his
that.
delay to sign a proclamation? He must answer that question.
Honorable
and
member,
the next
now.
question is why he didn't fire
Honorable member,
that minister there.
The President has responded to that question
Hey,
now.
he
Now
has
take your seat now.
responded. He has not replied and given an answer.
Take
There's
your
a
seat.
difference between response and giving an answer.
Take
and
your
he's
seat.
going to give an answer here. You're going to give an answer, Baba. Speaker, just wait. Just wait. Don't chill.
Honorable member, you are being disruptive now. Take your seat.
We are not disruptive.
No,
you
take your
are
seat.
disruptive. You
Take
are
your seat,
disrupting
Honorable member.
the House. You are disrupting the House, Speaker. Deputy Speaker, stop disrupting the House.
You are challenging the chair, and that's out of order.
Don't do that.
Honorable
Don't
member,
do that, Deputy Speaker.
we are going to request you, because you are
That is not
honorable member.
going to happen, Deputy Speaker.
I've asked you to take your seat. I now ask you again to take your seat so that this proceedings can proceed. Honorable members, your conduct is now not only interrupting
Mr. Zuma
with the ability of the House to proceed,
no ways,
but you are also disregarding the authority of the chair. And if you do not take your seat, I will have to ask you to leave the chamber.
Deputy Speaker, with due respect, I shall take my seat, but we definitely have a responsibility.
Honorable member, take your seat.
We have a constitutional responsibility, Deputy Speaker.
Honorable members, I now ask the Sergeant at Arms to have the member out.
Deputy Speaker, no. Deputy Speaker, stop with those semantics of yours. Nobody's going to leave here on the basis that a president does not want to answer questions. He must leave. Not anybody in the House.
Honorable member.
We are insistent, we've been here, we are wanting answers, he doesn't answer. Then you instruct honorable members to leave the House. How can that be?
Honorable Ndlozi, nobody asked you to speak. You were not recognized.
Nobody has to. The people of South Africa ask me to.
Honorable member.
I don't speak on your permission. You don't have to ask me to speak.
You
don't have to ask me to speak. I'm challenging your ruling.
I also
Honorable
ask you
Deputy
now,
Speaker.
if you do not take your
can't
seat-
chase members of the House out on the
Honorable
basis
member.
of demanding answers from Ubabaga Tutuzan. Then you are rendering this session useless.
Honorable members.
We are seized with
I
the
have now
person
spoken
who is
enough,
not answering
and I ask
questions.
Honorable
And you are
Gandhi
saying
and
we must
Honorable
stay
Ndlozi to
here
leave
for
the House.
non-answers.
Sergeant
Why
at
must I
Arms,
leave the House?
Please approach the
Why
two
must
members
I
that
leave
have
the
mentioned.
House?
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Gadi and Honorable Ndlozi.
But why must I leave the House?
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Consistently refuse to obey the rulings of the chair. I now ask you to approach them and request them.
Defending a criminal of note against honorable members.
Honorable
You
Malema,
are defending a criminal.
You are also speaking, disobeying the request
against honorable members
when you
who
are
doing their
recognized.
job.
Honorable member.
They are here doing their job executing a mandate given to them by
Sergeant
South
Arms, I've
Africans.
requested you to approach the members, please. Help them.
Honorable
leave.
Deputy Speaker, you cannot defend the #1 criminal
I am
at the
defending-
expense of the
Honorable
Constitution
members, I am
and holding a
defending the
criminal
rules of the
accountable.
House. This institution must be
You are
conducted
defending
properly.
a criminal.
Nobody asked you to.
He must be held accountable. And that's what we are doing here. That's what we are doing here. That's what we are elected to do. If when you came here for salary only, we didn't come here for salary only.
Honorable members, I'm now
Call
switching off
those
the
people
mics.
to come and
Honorable members, I have warned you. I have asked those members approached to leave the House. Honorable members, kindly leave the House as requested. Members that were told. Honorable Malema, I requested you not to speak when you are not recognized. I requested you to do that. Honorable members, I request you to leave the House. Honorable Malema, Honorable Gadi, Honorable Ndlozi, I have pointed out you. Honorable members, kindly leave. Yeah. All of you members who are on your feet, I have requested you, you are being disruptive. You are not meant to do that. We will now request the protection services to help the Sergeant at Arms. Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members, order. Order, honorable members, order. Honorable members, please be in order. We must now proceed with the business of the House. Order, honorable members. Honorable Kubisa.
Deputy Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable President,
Honorable members, please stop doing that. This is actually disruptive. You are yourself becoming disruptive now. If you want to join them outside, please do so with pleasure, with the greatest of pleasure. Please. Honorable President.
Honorable President, I believe that there is a nexus between this very question and the question you answered on when you arrived here in June. The question was about arresting all these things that are tarnishing the image of the country. And I referred specifically to the appointment of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry. And the Honorable President made an undertaking by saying that that was sacrosanct and there was a need for an agency in appointing a Judicial Commission of Inquiry. The question is, Your Excellency, will there be an undertaking from your side that there will be no further delays? I'm saying this because there are other issues that are playing out in the media. For instance, there is a debacle that is reported in the media with reference to the Department of Finance.
Honorable
Thank you very
Kubisa,
much.
Your time is expired. Go ahead, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Speaker.
I've said so here, and I've said it today, that I'm in the process of establishing the Commission of Inquiry. I have been working with the legal people to work on it, and that is what is happening, and it will be announced in due course. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Swart.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Arising from your response on the SIU proclamation, Honourable President, in addition to the time taken for such proclamations, one of the main challenges facing the SIU is that of insufficient funding for its complex investigations, such as the SABC inquiry and the irregularities there. You yourself, President, in February this year, called on 43 government departments and institutions who owed the SIU more than 418 million rand to pay their outstanding debt. Would you not agree that by not paying those debts, they are frustrating the completion of investigations where clearly implicated departments, it serves them not to pay their debt to the SIU? And this is clearly untenable. And if so, what do you intend doing to address this, to ensure that the SIU is fully funded to fight corruption and maladministration? I thank you.
Honourable President.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. With regard to the delay to this particular SIU investigation, it had nothing to do with the lack of finances. What had happened is that the matters to be investigated were put in the application. And some of the matters put there were put together with the matters that are being investigated already. So that application had to be cleaned up. It was a process on its own. So it was not because of the lack of funds. So I wouldn't answer that question because with regard to this one, that was not the case. The case was the application had to be put properly, and that has been done, and that's why it has been signed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We now move to question number 18, asked by Mr. M.A., Honorable M.A. Dix, for the President. Mr. President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we launched Operation Pakisa in 2014 to promote faster implementation of the undertakings made in the National Development Plan to our people, to promote economic growth and job creation. Operation Pakisa is unique in that it brings together sectors that hardly blend together: business, labor, academia, and government, to work out the most ideal plans to achieve growth and development in a particular sector. We have begun to implement the program in these areas, in 6 areas: the ocean economy, building ideal clinics, promoting information and communication technologies in schools, promoting growth in the mining sector, as well as agriculture and rural development, and biodiversity and tourism. The ocean economy has attracted 24 billion rand in investments. The Department of Trade and Industry has provided incentives to the value of 428 million rand. The global amount of 24 billion rand consists of investments from different companies of the ocean economy, the marine transport and manufacturing delivery unit,
has secured investments to the value of 5.6 billion rand, while the oil and gas component unlocked a total of 18.4 billion rand. Aquaculture has raised 444 million rand, marine protection services and governance 31 million rand, and coastal and marine tourism 40 million rand. Skills development is a core component of the ocean's economy. A total of 614 women have been trained in the marine manufacturing sector, and 733 women in the marine transport sector. More than 1,000 youth have been trained in marine manufacturing and close to 2,000 in marine transport sector. The Operation Pakisa Ideal Clinic program is aimed at improving quality of care at our primary health care facilities. An ideal clinic is one with good infrastructure, adequate staff, adequate medicine and supplies, good administrative processes, and sufficient bulk supplies that use applicable clinical policies, protocols, guidelines, as well as partner and stakeholder support. All these elements are important in order to ensure that provision of quality health services are given to the community. By the end of June 2017, a total of 1,188 clinics in the public sector had achieved the ideal clinic status. This performance translates to 32% of the existing stock of 3,477 primary health care facilities. The set target is that 2,823 primary health care facilities should reach the ideal clinic status by March 2019. Operation Pakisa in the basic education sector promotes the use of information and communication technology for teaching and learning. Since this Pakisa was launched in October 2015, a total of 3,455 schools have been connected to the internet and received devices. Approximately 54% of the more than 25,000 schools had acquired connectivity through various technologies. A total of 31,800 teachers have been trained in various levels of ICT skills. In this way, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the outdated methods of teaching and learning are being rapidly replaced as teachers and learners move towards 21st century approaches. Operation Pakisa mining program await finalization by the affected departments so that implementation can begin. The main aim of Operation Pakisa in agriculture, land reform, and rural development is to stimulate growth, faster job creation, and instill transformation along the agriculture and rural development value chain, and to contribute to inclusive growth. The work of Operation Pakisa on biodiversity focuses on 3 work streams, which are coastal and marine tourism, bio-specifying, and wildlife. Detailed implementation plans for this Operation Pakisa have been developed. Honorable Deputy Speaker, inadequate funding for some projects emanating from different Operation Pakisa programs is a key challenge. South Africa is utilizing relations with our strategic partners to attract investment and funding, faster business partnerships, and secure training opportunities. Furthermore, we will also continue to engage directly with the private sector to understand their constraints and remove blockages in order to stimulate investments. Government will also continue to invest in its infrastructure build program to attract investments. I thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Dix.
His Excellency, Honorable Comrade President Zuma, can the BRICS Bank assist Operation Pakisa in meeting our economic growth targets and speed up radical economic transformation, Honorable President? Thank you.
Honorable President.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Yes, the BRICS Bank
point of order
is earmarked to address those issues.
President, please take your seat. Yes, Honorable Member, what are you raising?
Sorry for interrupting the President. The Honourable Dix, on 2 occasions, raised, I can't even show you what that sign was, but it's one finger in my hand that he raised towards a member on this side of the House. Could you explain why he's allowed to use that unparliamentary behavior?
Honorable Dix, I hope you didn't do that. No, honorable members, Honorable Dix denies it. Honorable members, I addressed this question of gestures earlier. Your rules are very explicit about that. Let's not do that. We'll do that. Honorable President, please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. As I was saying, that the BRICS is indeed poised to help develop the economies, particularly from the developing countries and many others. And therefore, the issue of it assisting the countries in many respects is growing. They've already first called the projects that have been approved, and they are waiting for more projects, and they are raising more money. Bear in mind that the bank is new, and it is therefore working very well. We are satisfied as members of BRICS that it is doing its best, and it will therefore address those questions. Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Easthuizen. Esther Hazen. But, yeah. Baie dankie, I'll learn to say it better next time. Thank you very much, Honorable Father. I'm listening to your guidance. Please go ahead.
I'll give the President his moment of humor. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Like the NDP that the President mentioned, business could have been skeptical of such a centralized approach to business, but I embraced it and I've spent already billions. But unfortunately, that's where it ended. That's where it stayed, only a plan. Mr. President, my question, SOEs are crucial for Pakisa's success, but currently most are depending on government bailouts for survival. And how can you expect investors to support this initiative with financial institutions within South Africa are stopping to lend money to SOEs because these SOEs or state-owned enterprises are being used for personal monetary gain by certain individuals. Now, how can you ensure the investors and the private sector for the support for Pakisa, continued support? Thank you.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. No, the investors are investing. It's not the question whether you could expect them to do it. They're doing it. They are investing. They can see the potential of Operation Pakisa in different sectors. So it's not the question of speculating whether they will participate or not. They are participating. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Ngada.
Speaker, I think there must have been an error.
Okay, all right. Honorable Maimane.
Mr. President, I think all of us can agree that the only way you keep a program such as this one functioning well is by building a capable state, ours is captured, is eradicating corruption, and providing leadership which doesn't exist. Now, the fundamentals in this instance is that 9.3 million South Africans are losing work, are without work at this point in time. My crucial question is to you, whilst we're being downgraded to junk status, whilst we are in recession, the fundamental reasons have been because your decision to recycle finance minister every single time. Do you not believe it's about time that you make coherent policy process and stop the business of recycling finance ministers, or maybe give the nation reasons why you keep changing finance ministers? Or are we ever going to get to a point where we bring stability to policy and leadership in this country under your tenure?
Honorable President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. There is in this country a situation that is found globally. Many countries, because of the economic meltdown, are in difficulties. They have been in difficulties, some of them worse than South Africa. In fact, at a time when the economy was challenging the globe, South Africa was performing even better than its equal countries. Now, I don't think if you say as if South Africa is just on its own. Every other country has been affected, including old economies. And they did not change any ministers. And you can't say, therefore, if there's a change in government, that is what caused the economy. No, and I'm saying there has been countries in difficulties without a minister being changed. Don't make that if a minister is changed, that means you are then causing economy problems. They change all the time. Leaving aside the attitude of business, particularly in South Africa, which has a particular kind of attitude. So all I'm saying, you can't pin down the economic position of South Africa to a removal of a minister. I'm saying in other countries, there was no minister taken out and the economies were down. Some of them, they were at a point where it was very difficult. I'm just correcting you. That is just politicking, that it was because of the minister. Ministers have been changing in this country, but at a particular time, because of the economic situation globally, then the situation became what it is. I'm just correcting that because you are making it as if once you change a minister, then the economy goes down. That's not the truth. It's not the truth. In South Africa, we're faced with other kind of challenges which we dealt with, and we are dealing with those. It is not because of the actions of government only, because the economy has been not functioning with those ministers in place. So I'm just saying, you can't base your question as if it is the magic one that once you remove a minister, the economy goes down. There have been many economies that have gone down, big and small, and they are recovering. South Africa is part of the global economy. It cannot escape the economic problems. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Not myself.
Honorable Sheikh.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Mr. President, you talk about jobs, you talk about ideal clinics throughout the country. Now, Mr. President, first of all, let me start off and I'll give you an example of an area in Ugu where people have to travel almost 50 kilometers just to get a clinic. Kwanguza, Nkumatane, Ndilande. Then let me add, Mr. President, we talk about ideal clinics. Just this week, a Mr. Leslie Clifford died because he'd been going to the Mitchell's Plain Day Hospital every day and been turned away without being served and died there mercilessly at that hospital. Now, on the one hand, we talk about creating ideal clinics, but our people are dying every day. And I want to add, as deployed member in the Western Cape, the service in terms of the health sector in the Western Cape leaves a lot to be desired. Thank you, Mr. President.
Honorable President. Honorable members, we go to the next question asked by Honorable Van der Merwe to the President. Mr. President.
Honorable Van der Merwe. Just 1 minute. Honorable Deputy Speaker, our country has made considerable progress in the fight against gender-based violence, thanks to the collaboration on this program by government, civil society, and communities. Given the high levels of domestic violence and also violence against women and children in general, government has responded with legislation as well strengthening the criminal justice system in addition to awareness campaigns such as the 16 days of activism of no violence against women and children. The Constitution of the Republic is the foremost law that enshrines the right of women to dignity, equality, security, and other rights. We also have legislation such as the Domestic Violence Act, the Protection from Harassment Act, and the amended Sexual Offenses and Related Matters Act as instruments to be utilized for recourse. Government has opened 60 sexual offences courts. These courts are aimed at increasing conviction rates and to minimize the secondary victimization of rape survivors. There are also domestic violence courts in all magistrate courts which grant protection orders under both the Domestic Violence Act and the Protection from Harassment Act. Further, the family violence and child protection units have been reintroduced in police stations. There are currently more than 1,000 designated victim empowerment rooms at police stations for purposes of enabling statements of the survivors of sexual offenses, domestic violence, trafficking, and other traumatized individuals to be taken in private. Where there are no designated victim-friendly rooms, alternative arrangements must be made for the taking of statements in private. There are specialized investigators who investigate sexual offenses, some family-related crimes, and all child abuse crimes. In addition, the Hawks investigate all cases of human trafficking and organized crime. Government has also established Tutuzela care centers which operate as 24-hour daily centers for victims of sexual assault and other related offenses in order to provide comprehensive support to victims of violence. The centers are run in partnership between the Departments of Health, Social Development, Police and Justice, and Constitutional Development. As a result of dedicated investigations, a total of 541 life sentences were achieved during the past financial year. Importantly, the police are being trained to implement these laws. The curriculum at police training centers now also includes a module on gender-based violence, and each police station has to ensure that all officers get this training. We need to do a lot more still to change attitudes towards women. More also needs to be done to empower women to report cases of abuse and for family members and others, not to prevent women from reporting perpetrators if they are close to them or known to the family. I thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Panel Merve.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Honourable President, I think legislation alone won't help us if your cabinet is not leading by example. And I would like to ask you, therefore, whether you would concede that your government, having granted diplomatic immunity to Mrs. Grace Mugabe, has completely made a mockery of our rule of law and also made a mockery of all our efforts to fight violence and abuse. And secondly, you've missed the part of the question where I asked you about the comments that the Honourable Minister of Social Development made when she said that in your cabinet, there are worse abusers of women than Mr. Manana. So I want to know from you, who are these people that are abusing women? Will you take steps against the Minister of Social Development for harbouring criminals? And what steps are you personally taking to ensure that those guilty parties will be reported to authorities? Because, Mr. President, if you don't act yourself, then you, the Minister of Social Development, the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, and the Honourable Manana are all guilty of abuse of women. I thank you.
Honourable President.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Well, firstly, we've done everything to create structures, the laws that we are talking about, so that people who commit such crimes are reported and the law takes its course. Standing here, I don't know who are the people who are abusing women. And I'm sure those who will have knowledge, they will know what to do in order to deal with that. So I can't answer your question fully because I don't know. In my cabinet, I don't know. I haven't seen anyone. And I'm sure if I knew, I would be able to report. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Mafu.
Sibonge Sakela Somlomo.
Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Singh, just hold on.
May I rise on a point of order, sir?
Yes, what's the point of order?
Thank you. Deputy Speaker, we are required as members of this House to submit questions to the Office of the President at least 16 days before the President comes to this House. Now, Honourable Van der Merwe is quite correct. A question directed at the President is very specific, Part B, and there was no answer to this question. And, really we'd like to, the Office of the President to know that when we send these questions in advance, we expect them to research the answers and provide them to the President.
Okay. Honourable President.
I thought that was directed to you. Was it directed to me? I thought he was just telling you that when the questions are sent, this is what is expected. Insofar as the question is concerned. Now, I was saying we have structures to deal with these matters. And that's as I was answering the question. We have laws, we have everything. Now, if somebody says, I know there are some people, and is not saying to the President, President, I know so and so and so and so are beating up their women, how am I going to be knowing who are those people? Now, I said I don't know who are those people in the cabinet. That's different from whether the question has been answered or not. I'm answering the question, and I answered the question.
Deputy Speaker, on a point of order.
What's the point of order, Honourable Member?
Deputy Speaker, I also asked the President whether he would give an undertaking that he will actually engage the Minister so that he can get the details himself and show some leadership. Because it's no good to tell us that he is passionate or committed to gender-based violence, but he's not willing to take any action himself. I also asked him about Grace Mugabe's pretext of diplomatic immunity and what message that will send to our fight against gender-based violence. He didn't answer anything.
Before you respond, Mr. President, can I remember members and whips in particular, find a way to change the rules to allow you to ask 3-4 supplementary questions, because we are placed in an invidious position as presiding officers to rule that you have asked 3 or 4 supplementary questions, to say that if the President has asked any part of it, then he may not answer even your legitimate issues. So, whips, please attend to that. We are not here to be able to do that. So, President, you may respond.
Well, thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Well, I have no difficulty in asking the Minister, now that the issue has been raised in Parliament, and she's a member of this Parliament as well. Because I can't, if people make remarks at every corner, I must go to them to say, what are you talking about? I'm sure I will be running up and down, asking people. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Mafu?
Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honorable
Point of
Skenezi.
order.
What's the point of order?
Deputy Speaker, I want to address you in terms of Rule 84 of the Rules of the National Assembly, if I may. The problem with telling untruths is that they come back to bite you. Now, you asked the Honourable Dix just now whether he had made that unparliamentary gesture, and he told you, Deputy Chairperson, that he had not. Unfortunately, he's been caught on the parliamentary channel and on 2 news channels with his middle finger pointing up. So not only did he behave in an unparliamentary way, he lied to you, sir. And I would suggest to you that lying to the presiding officer is a very serious offence and that he should be held to account. You can't throw people out of the House when they're exercising their rights and allow somebody to get away with blatantly lying to you as the presiding officer.
Honorable members, that matter and the use of cell phones in the House will be addressed to the committee that is appropriate to handle that. Thank you very much. We will do that.
Deputy Speaker, may I just say to you, sir, it's got nothing to do with the use of cell phones in the House. This was caught on footage. It's now doing its rounds on social media. You need to restore the dignity of this House.
Yes, and that's how I do it. And that's how I do it. This matter, honorable member, this is exactly, we will address all those issues interlinked and all together. We will do that. You have passed rules. I've just commented about the rules you make, and then you conveniently want to skip some of them and use others. That will not be allowed. Honorable Mafu, please go ahead and respond to your question here.
Sibonge sekela somlomo. Mongameli womzansi Afrika, siyabulela ngempendulo yakho. Umbuzo wami uthi manyathelo mani uhulumende awenzayo uqinisekisa umanyano loluntu, insebenziswano, ukunyamezelana nokuqonda malunga nenkqubo zokulwa ukwenziwa kobundlobongela obugxile kwisini nokhuselo lwamalungelo abantu basetyhini emisebenzini ngaphakathi kumasebe kahulumente nakwilizwe jikelele. Okwesibini, Mongameli, zeziphi iinkqubo ezilandelwayo okanye amanyathelo anokuthathwa kwabo kuthiwa ziinkokheli nabantu abangamagosa aphezulu kahulumente nokuba ngaba baphuma kweliphi na iqembu lezopolitiko abathi babonwe okanye bephembelela ubundlobongela obugxile kwisini nokunyashwa kwamalungelo abantu besifazane? Ndiyabulela, Mongameli.
Mr. President.
Njengoba sendike ndabeka lungu ehloniphekileyo lendlu yothula umthetho, ndithe ikhona imithetho nendlela zokuba kubhekwane nabantu abenza lonto ukuthi benziwa njani, nabonke kufanele babajeziswe abantu abanyathela amalungelo abantu, noma ngabe ngubani na, noma ngabe abaphathiswa, noma ngabe amalungu eParliament, noma ngabe ubani. Umthetho awukhethi. Xa kubonakala efumaneka umuntu enyathela amalungelo abantu ngokuthi aphathe kakubi omama nabantu besimame, kunyanzelekile kuba lowo muntu umthetho ubhekane naye kuba uphula umthetho wase South Africa. Leyo nto icacile. Naphina xa uza nobungqina uthi nangumuntu usemoshile kufanele abanjwe noma uyomreporta emaphoyiseni kuba nangumuntu enza into ephuma endleleni, umthetho wenzelwe lokho nezinto kufanele basizenze xa abantu bemosha bephethe kakubi omama. Injalo indaba.
Honorable Maimane.
Thank you. Dr. Makosi Khoza voted, oh, well, she stood up to you. And you said there must be a witch hunt against her. You said those people must be prosecuted. The question is actually quite simple, Mr. President. what grounds did Grace Mugabe get diplomatic immunity for? On what basis? It's as simple as that. She came here, she beat up a young South African woman, and we want to know why the South African government allowed her to leave under the guise of diplomatic immunity. That's all.
Honorable President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I am told that the DA's constitution is clear that if a member of DA votes against the DA, is automatically out of the party. So you can't comment on the matter what the ANC is doing. That's what I'm told. That you don't even do the witch hunt. Once they vote, they are out. So that one, with regard to Mrs. Mugabe, now I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the points of law. And I was not involved in this process. How it has been done, I would be lying if I speculate. What were the facts that were put? Because I was not in that department dealing with that matter. So I'm not going to give you an answer that is not there. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Tlowama.
Honorable President, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable President, I think we must admit that truth and honesty has long departed your administration. Why can't you admit that you are afraid of Robert Mugabe? Therefore, his wife can beat anyone, even in South Africa. The least said about Mududizina Manana, the better. Honorable President, why are we paying you? Because it seems you have opened our country to be abused. When are you going to start leading, Honorable President?
Honorable President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Firstly, I've not opened a country to any abuse. If somebody, part of the reason why we have the laws in the country is that when somebody commits a crime here, there are law enforcement entities that deal with that. And insofar as the matter we are referring to, the police were very active, were very involved, dealing with that matter. What I'm not saying, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what happened and how the matter at the end came to a point that it came to a point where it came. So, so all I'm saying, the actions were taken, the police were there, they dealt with the matter. Then the issue of diplomatic conditions came about, and the actions were taken. All I'm saying, I can't answer that detail, not being aware what actually happened. I can't lie. Why do you say the truth has run away? Because I'm telling the truth. What's your problem? You know, if for an example, you did not want to come to parliament to politic, if we are interested in it, we would have gone to the police station where the case was put, you would have the facts. But you just want to politic. You want me to talk, you want me to discuss the matters, the details of which I don't know. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honorable.
Yes, yes. Honorable Chauke, yes.
I think we have just been exposed to something that is shocking, really. If there's a clinic or a doctor, we need to attend to that member quickly, because a member was doing something in the house which is abnormal. Can you attend?
No, Honorable Chauke, no. Honorable members, that conclude questions to the President. I thank the President, and the House is adjourned.
Thank you.
You're watching SABC News now. This was a live crossing to Parliament in